It's me, Nimsoni. Welcome back to Project TX. It is finally back here. It has been months since I made another video of this project. Now you'll have noticed that things have changed. My head now has a little headset on. I just stole the headphones from the Super Mario 64 Reimagined project that I made. I custom modeled those headphones. Actually, they were originally on a different project, so you can still see the M in his ear here, in the earphone there. They're just nice pair of headphones. I wanted to put them on. I'm going to start testing physics-based objects sitting on the head as well. Now, what you're looking at here, you'll notice that the animation structures of the character look a lot better than they did previously. Look, this is me dropping my hands completely down to the floor to like my hanging natural hang right here, and you can see they just work properly. I have spent a lot of time. So here I'm gonna reach up, and you can see if I switch my controllers on, you can see I just reach up to, this is sort of my limit of stretch in reality. This is my limit of low stretch down. And then, unfortunately, the sort of T-pose is not perfect. You can see you can see that they do very slightly still push the elbows in there, but almost perfect. And you can see here, I can do sort of the wave. It looks good. I can and it looks good. Cross arms there. It all just really looks good. Look, you move the hand behind the head there, behind the back there. All looks really good, especially when I jump there. It looks really good. Now, what's actually going on here? So, it's been a while since I made a video on this project for a reason. What I did is, after looking at the game the way it was before, especially when you looked at the elbows in the last version. Now, this is not the final model. It's going to be upgraded soon. I've actually been working on it. This is a slightly upgraded version for the shoulders to look nicer. But I have been pretty much recreating every part of this game. When I say game, obviously I mean all of the sort of main systems. So everything you see here, completely recreated from scratch, with the exception of the actual character model itself. Right from the input systems, so I've got the tracking setup, obviously the regular sort of tracking setup, and from there derived elbow positions, logical sort of shoulder control, and you can see how it's actually moving much more naturally now. It's almost completely natural. Here's a few punches. Here's a good sort of that. I've been testing it with, and you can see even the sort of chest rotation. Very cool. I can crouch down. I can stand up. So all of the sort of input level IK logic has been recreated properly. And then, of course, I've got also, if you just come with me, I've also got the ragdoll completely rebuilt from scratch, and the ground control for the character movement system. So all of the ground control completely rebuilt from scratch. I rewrote it from scratch as well. And yeah, the avatar control, so the way that the avatar links to the ragdoll, recreated. I rewrote everything. I rewrote absolutely everything. Now, the other thing that I've been testing a lot is the idea, and you can see in the shadow there, just in front of you, that is your shadow. That is a floating camera. I can actually rotate it here, so you can see me rotating it. And yeah, that's a floating camera, which actually follows the camera logic of Tubby Supercat. So the SM64 Reimagined project, I took the camera systems from there, which I'm using for Tubby Supercat, and yeah, I decided to turn the third-person camera for like external viewing. So if you were to record this game, you can switch on the third-person camera. You can actually see me moving around, and this really shows off the sort of IK logic here, which is not IK. This is all ragdoll. This is all ragdoll. So here we go. We rotate the camera over here. You can see it's all ragdoll, and that actually improves things quite a lot. It improves things a lot. So let's bring the camera around here. Right, let's have a look at this here section here. So what I can do here, because this is all ragdoll and it's improved, I'm gonna switch the controllers on for this, and you can see here when I'm on here, you can see the controller just sticking out, right? So where I place my controller, obviously I can sort of reach up here. Now what you can see is when I throw my controllers down, it very slowly like tries to reach that position, right? But when I'm above here, hopefully the camera's following properly. Yeah, you can see I'm able to throw it. That's because there's actual much more strength now here in the elbow area, which is why it's not flopping and wobbling around like it was before. That is then coupled with the hand, and it actually creates a completely different structure to any physics things that you've played with before, right? So it's no longer just a floating hand with an elbow stuck onto it. This elbow has actual impact on the game world around it, right? So which means if I hang on here, you can see here the controller, right? Now I'm going to do this with one hand. And you can see here that the controller is down here, right? I'll do it with my left hand. Try and do it with my left hand here. There we go. He's a little bit slippy. Now, if I was to try and push out, right? So my left hand is now right far into the wall here. Then I actually start to fall. So here I can actually lean on it fine. I can lean on it fine until I start pushing it outwards. And you see how I just fall down? That's because once you're at extension here, the elbow is no longer pushing up and down as much on the hand because of the wrist strength. But once you're like this, you're able to hold it all together, and the same thing goes above. And you can really see that when you check out these weights here, for example. Actually, if you go around over there, thank you. So here we've got a weight setup that is it's too heavy for me to lift essentially, right? So I'm going to grab it here, and I'm going to keep the controllers on actually. And you can see here, once I lift it quite far away from me, can't lift it, right? It's reaching that sort of limit of strength. Now this is purely ragdoll. I've not written any systems to do this on purpose. This is purely because of the ragdoll strength mechanics, right? Now if I put it near me, you can see that I can actually lift it better. So here is out, can't lift it. Here, inside, I can lift it quite well. There's something more. If I lift it over onto my shoulder here, that gives me a little bit of extra strength there. Now what we can do is if I put it close enough, I can just about get it above me. You see this? I'm able to lift it completely because of the elbow strength here in my elbows, because I'm able to push up on the hands from the elbows there. And as I lean it forward, of course, what happens, you can see it straight away, I lose that strength. I lose that strength because I can't actually push with my elbows. You can see here my elbow is trying to actually push it up, and that makes a difference to the whole thing. And that you can see it even more here as well. Here with one hand, I can't lift it past that point. I can, however, with two. Now once it goes above my head, you can see I can lift it with one hand, right? Until I just let it droop a bit too much, and then it's lost. I dropped. I can't hold it like that. Very, very, very cool. Things have really changed. This has really changed the way that the game mechanics actually feel. Everything feels so much more strong and controlled when you've got that kind of thing. Let's have a look at the locomotion a little bit. So obviously here, as you can see with the camera, things are really looking cool. Things really look cool when I'm running about. When I'm running about with that camera, it works really well. Yeah. Because it's actually a camera that I wrote for a platforming system, right? So that's why it looks really, really cool. You're going to want to stay on that side of this camera now, right? You're going to want to stay on this side, because what happens here? Here, it's part of the ground control. As part of the ground control that I've upgraded, I have been working on making sure that all of the slopes and all of that actually work correctly. Now in the previous version, with that little slant, that sort of ramp that I had in the little test area, the problem with that was I was able to run up it up until the point where my body just sort of pushed off the side of the wall. I had too much strength on a diagonal. Here, however, if I just grab myself over here, I'm just going to try and stay up, and you can see I'm not able to actually go up there. I'm going to try and run up here. Can't go up. Really, really cool. It works really well, and I haven't actually pre-programmed anything like that. So there's no pre-made slopes or anything. It's just working based on that angle, based on it just does it properly. Everything is sort of the same problem here. Again, we've got that sort of full ragdoll body, and because the shoulders have now improved so much, the elbows have improved so much, everything becomes a lot easier to control like you would naturally. Now here you can see I am definitely not able to lift that with one hand, right? But I am able to just hold it above my head really easily, right? In fact, I can't actually lift it with two hands, you see? Right? I can't actually lift this with two hands. It eventually catches up if I angle it right and I get my muscles engaged. As long as I'm able to push it up on my shoulder, I can actually hold it up with one hand. You may have noticed something else, something that's sitting on my wrist. So if you bring the camera a little bit closer here, zoom in, there we go. What you'll notice is this little dot on my wrist. Now, it's not actually a wristwatch, it's an inverse wristwatch. What I noticed is I wanted to do a menu system. I wanted to do a menu system that is within the game's physical world. Again, because of the upgraded IK logic that I've been working on, this elbow is so close to exact that I may as well just use it in game mechanics, right? Now, this is not going to be the main pause menu. I'll be able to just like hit the menu button and bring up the pause menu. But on the wrist, you can see when I turn my hand, it just pops up. And because it's on my IK logic, again, this is not true IK. This is just my mathematical sort of logical place where the elbow would be, and then I use that on the ragdoll, not on an IK system. So it's not actual IK calculations. It's just a bit of extra trigonometry to decide where that elbow is, based on the shoulder and the hand. And there we go. And that allows me to actually, it just sort of looks at me, right? And it does also turn. So if I bring it this way and then just turn over, you should be able to see the clock, right? So that's the real time. It is 12:25. I am a very late sleeper. Right now, I've got work tomorrow as well. Well, today actually. So there we go. It looks really cool, and it turns with my head. There we go. And that keeps it up vertical whenever I'm working, whenever I actually look at it. So I've actually got a clock in game right now, a wristwatch. You may notice the phone in the background there constantly ringing. Someone is waiting for me to call them, and I told them I'll call them after this video, but I got sidetracked a little bit. I was working a little bit on the mechanics. Now, you can see here again, the IK logic just works out really nicely. There is a little bit more strength in my hand. I need to do a bit of tweaking to make sure everything feels right. But right now, what happened there? I think there's a bit of glitching going on today. I am getting a bit of stuttery frame rate, possibly down to the fact that I'm running 3 in-game cameras, all with high quality post-processing on them. Yeah, a bit silly. But there we go. It all looks really cool. I don't know what happened there with the physics grab, but yeah, I recreated the hand pose system as well, and that is for an upgraded idea. Basically, the hand pose system, the original hand pose system, was based on this character model. I can't do that anymore. I did not want any of my systems to be based on this character model, right? So what I did is everything from the ragdoll to the general grabbing and physics systems to the hand posing, everything is now based on a generic structure, all with some extra clever classes, and those all then link to the character model, which has a profile system. And there we go. So what you end up with is the ability to essentially mod the character completely, and all of the physics-based stuff will still work perfectly. Now, you'll have noticed just then that I was able to just walk over this surface here very easily. That's because that is down to the ground system once again. So it actually does hit walls, as you can see here. I'm going to control move here. You can see I hit the little surface on the ground. However, if I just step over it, I can't just step over it. Now, obviously, the IK legs, the sort of movement animation on the feet, it's not very good right now. I have been working on it. They very often go through the ground, but make no mistake, these are ragdoll legs. They just don't have collision at the moment. I'm doing some clever sort of work on the ground to actually handle stuff like this, and it works really well. It works really well on all of these sort of objects here. For example, here I can just step right over it, even though you can see I just about bounce a little bit over the top. it's all very, very cool. You can see here, for example, I try and go up, and the camera does drop down a little bit because it's very intelligent. It knows when I'm grounded, which is why it's not actually bouncing up. So, for example, here, when I jump off the ground, you can see the camera doesn't completely bounce up, right? It just sort of stays there, tries to wait for me to land on surface, and that, again, like I said, that's based on my platforming systems. In fact, when I turn my body, you should see the camera very slightly moves towards where I'm looking, right? Because what it wants to do is it wants to show you where I'm moving. It wants to show you what I'm doing, right? So that's the camera. It's a little bit of a clever clogs thing, and I wanted to give every bit of this game a polish feel, including the third-person camera, right? Because I just wanted everything to feel really, really cool. Everything has this sort of really cool look to it that it all feels almost as if I'm using more tracking and more stuff going on than you see in any other system, really. It should look almost like I've got full body tracking, or at least above the upper body here. That's what I wanted for this project. It needs to look right, because if it doesn't, then the ragdoll will interfere with the gameplay, right? So it needs to be... Those are heavy. So these are the light ones, these are empty, and then these, you actually have to lean them on your body to lift them. Nice and easy, and then you can just sort of throw them. Not a very good throw. Not a very good throw. Let's try ladders out. Now, these do work quite well with the grounding system, but they do often get thrown about at the end, which didn't happen actually, so that was quite good. Again, of course, I can just throw them on top and then use them as a sort of hat. Here we go, using a ladder as a hat. Right, lift that off, get off me. There we go. And then if we just sort of put it on like this, there we go. Now you can hold it over like this and just walk around while I'm holding something else. I'm still working a little bit on the directionality control. So you can see here, when I turn my hand, I am still moving directly based on the hand control. Of course, when I swing it back and forth, it doesn't go all over the place because there's a little bit of logic going on there. But I've upgraded that, and I'm working on a complete hybrid system. As with everything on this project, everything is hybrid. So I'm working completely on a hybrid system where it'll try and give you the head-directed motion when the hand is too illogical. So for example, when you're swinging swords and stuff like that, the hand rotation is just going to cause you trouble. But at the same time, when you're sort of pointing it like this, you kind of do want that control. You want to be able to go like this and walk your hands sideways while you look around and look at the camera over there, talking to your audience, because I am going to be putting this third-person camera idea into the game, which is why I really want it to be to look really good. So that's pretty much it. That's the little playground that I've been working in here. Not much new stuff. It's all very much a polished version of my original stuff, and you can see it definitely looks better. It looks so much better when I jump, when I crouch, and the crouching does work. I do have trouble with crawling at the moment. I haven't really implemented the lowest part of the body mechanics, so you can actually crawl under here like this. So here we go. If you move the camera this way, I can hit the surface obviously and then go underneath, and there we go. The camera zooms in on me because it doesn't know what to do properly, but there we go. It's all very cool. It's all very new, but also not new. I've been testing this whole system by sort of just dancing around and seeing it in third person. Really had a lot of fun this week just messing with this. I know it's been months since the last video for this project, but hopefully you can see why this rebuild has made a completely huge difference. The aim right now is to build a new little playground area, which I'm going to be releasing as a tech demo. It'll probably go on Steam. I wanted to get these systems to feel so good and clean so that I can put this on Steam as a tech demo and really show off what we can do in the future of technology here with the future of VR. There is so much more to come once you've got a full body that actually works correctly, right? With the elbows, that makes a huge difference to the way you move, to the way you actually interact with things that are in the game world space. Also, having this third person IK logic works so well. And I keep calling it IK even though it's not technically IK. What I'm handling is the wrist position, which is based on the controllers of course, and the elbow position, the shoulder rotation based on all of that structure including the head, the chest position and the rotation of that chest and how it moves the body around down here, and of course where the hip goes when I stand like so. All of that stuff is what I'm talking about when I say IK based logic. It's not actually IK though, because it's not doing inverse kinematic calculations. It's not actually doing that part of the job's just done by the ragdoll logic, right? So I've got some basic trigonometry functions, so they are sort of halfway to IK, but it's not the full way. But there you go. Anyways, I'm gonna keep chattering and whatever if I keep going on here. So that's probably the end of this video. Thanks very much for watching. I've got a Boneworks video coming up very, very soon. The How It Works video, I really need to get that done. I've been meaning to actually do that. I started it last week and then didn't get around to finishing it. And then I started it again on Friday, or actually on Thursday, to try and get it done for today. But I've been working so much on this project. I just wanted to get this, to show things off really. I'm a bit of a show off anyway. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. That is the end of this one. Goodbye.